All right. So we'll go back to this. I'll start it once again. So we are looking at the paper 2 syllabus today. And as I said, we have 10 units in paper 2. And the first unit is about the fundamentals of yoga, history, and various schools of yoga. Under fundamentals of yoga, as you can see, we have history and development of yoga, which includes the different eras of yoga, like the pre-classical, classical, post-classical, modern, these aspects of history. And meaning and definitions, as you know, from different scriptures, different contexts, they give the definitions and meanings of yoga, followed by the misconceptions, the aims and objectives of yoga. So that's the first part. Then we have introduction to Vedas, Upanishads, Prasthanatrayi. So you will learn all of these. Prasthanatrayi includes the 3 important texts, the Bhagavad Gita, Upanishads, and the Brahma Sutras. So, and also the concept of Purushartha Chatustaya, which includes Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha. So that is part of the second topic. And basic concepts of the Shad Darshanas include the Nyaya, Vaisheshika, Sankhya, Yoga, Uttara, and Purva Mimamsa. And you would go into a little bit of the people who have founded it and the concepts, the most important concepts of the Shad Darshanas, followed by the introduction to epics and Smriti, a little bit about yoga in Ramayana, Mahabharata, and the Yajnavalkya Smriti. Then we have the brief introduction and yogic contribution of Maharishi Patanjali and Guru Gorakshanath's traditions. So here, starting from here, what you see is, you will see the life history of the sages and also the modern yogis in the last few centuries. So here it started with the contributions of Maharishi Patanjali and Guru Gorakshanath, who are age old. So you will have a little bit of introduction to that, followed by yoga in Narada Bhakti Sutras and yoga in the literature of the saints. Saints are Kabir Das, Tulsi Das, and Surdas, so which are included in our syllabus. So you will learn a little bit of life history about these 3 sages, saints also. And then you have yoga in modern times and yogic traditions of Swami Vivekananda, Aurobindo, Maharishi Ramana, Maharishi Dayanand Saraswati. You will learn the life histories of all these modern yogis. And yoga in contemporary times, where Sham Charan Lahiri and Krishnamacharya, Shivananda Saraswati, Swami Rama of the Himalayas. Then we have Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, followed by Sri Ram Sharma Acharya, and their contributions for the development and promotion of yoga. So starting from Maharishi Patanjali to this part, until the Sri Ram Sharma Acharya ji, until there you will see that it is only about the life history and their contributions or work towards yoga. Okay, so for this you will have to make comparative charts. You have to really have a good memory to remember the birth dates, the death days, and the gurus, the main works that they've done. Okay, the kind of yogic contributions that they've made, the literature that they've written, the books that they've published, all these aspects. Okay, and then there's introduction to Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Karma Yoga, Raj Yoga, and the Hatha Yoga and Mantra Yoga. So the introduction of all these kinds of yogas, elements of yoga in Jainism and Buddhism. So this is the these are the topics covered in the first unit. Going to the second unit, we have the principal Upanishads, the Bhagavad Gita, and the Yoga Vashishta. Okay, so principal Upanishads are 10 in number. As you can see, we have Ishavasya Upanishad, Kena Upanishad, Katha Upanishad, Prashna Upanishad, Mundaka, Mandukya, Aitareya, Taitareya, Chandogya, and Brihadaranyaka. So these are the 10 principal Upanishads or main Upanishads. Okay, so we will go into the important concepts of each of these Upanishads. Again, as I mentioned, please maintain separate books for these units. Each unit, you better include a different book. Otherwise, towards the end, you will have it all cramped in one single book and you won't be able to really study. Yeah, so this is my experience and I'm sharing it with you. Then followed by Bhagavad Gita after the Mukhya Upanishads. In Bhagavad Gita, you have not the entire Bhagavad Gita, but the most important concepts, which include the yogic concepts. Okay, like chapter 2, chapter 6, and starting from chapter 6 onwards, you have 7, then 12, and followed by 14, 17, 18. So there are very important topics which are related to the yogic aspect. Those aspects will be discussed in Bhagavad Gita. The shlokas and other things which are important also have to be memorized and remembered. And coming to Yoga Vashishta, this is a text that is again very important, not very big or difficult, but it is a very important topic where you will kind of get 2 or 3 questions or maximum of 4 questions, not more than that. But this is an important aspect. Don't neglect that. So Yoga Vashishta, again, in this we have concept of Adi and Vyadi. So I think some of you have touch based with Yoga Vashishta. It's a dialogue between Lord Rama and Vashishta Muni. So that is all put in a text in a scripture called Yoga Vashishta. And there are a lot of yogic aspects which are discussed in this text. That's why it's given in our syllabus. So the concept of Adi and Vyadi is very important here. Then there is a mention about psychosomatic ailments and the 4 Dwarpals to freedom, how Sukha Muni is attained in the highest state of bliss, some examples of how yoga was applied for different aspects, and then practices to overcome the impediments of yoga, development of Sattva Guna, 8 limbs of meditation, and Jnana Sapta Bhumika. So this is also very important, Jnana Sapta Bhumika. And going to the next unit, we have the Yoga Upanishads. So in the second unit, we've seen the Mukhya Upanishads, and the third unit, we have the Yoga Upanishads. Yoga Upanishads, we have 8 in number. The first one is Shweta Shwatra Upanishad, then we have Yoga the Kundali Upanishad, then we have Yoga Chudhamani, then Traishiki Brahman Upanishad, Yoga Tattva Upanishad, Dhyana Bindu Upanishad, Nada Bindu Upanishad, and Yoga Raj Upanishad. So these are the 8 Upanishads. You will have, I can say, this has a flavor of the Hatha Yoga text. So a little bit, you have, I can say, you can relate with the Hatha Yoga text that you would learn. Some of them have the resemblances to the Hatha Yogic text, but there are a few others which have their own flavor. So a little different from the Hatha Yoga text. Again, here, make sure there are a lot of important, I can say, verses or shlokas in these Yoga Upanishad texts. You will have to make a note, a very good note of all these aspects so that you remember towards the end. Learn the concepts, memorize the shlokas. And then coming to the Patanjali Yoga Sutras, which is the 4th unit, is the complete unit on the 4 padas of the Yoga Sutras. We have Samadhi Pada, Sadhana Pada, Vibhuti, and Kaivalya Pada. These are the 4 chapters of the Patanjali Yoga Sutras. So I will be dealing with the Patanjali Yoga Sutras. So anyway, I would take you through the complete concepts. Before I start, I would give you a roadmap of where we are heading towards. So I wouldn't like to go into a great detail about this. It would take approximately 35 to 40 classes for me to finish both the chanting and also the explanation of the sutras. Okay, so the expectation from you all is to by heart the sutras. All 195 sutras should be memorized. There's no other way. There's no other way, because the order of the sutras is very important. There are a lot of questions that come about the order of the sutras. They can ask you probably like, what is the third vritti mentioned in the list of vrittis? So third vritti, again, which third vritti? You have to go back to the Samadhi Pada, the sutra, and recognize where exactly is that particular sutra falling. And then depending on that, you have to kind of mark the answer. So unless you have the ability to memorize the sutras by heart, you will not be able to clear this. Right from the beginning, make it a habit that every day you are revising the sutras. Okay, so we have 4 padas, as I said. I will be taking that. Don't worry about it. Just that you have to continuously and consistently prepare. As the classes are going, you have to make notes. You have to keep revising the topics. Okay, and then we have unit 5, where the Hatha Yogic texts are covered. Here we have 8 Hatha Yogic texts. We have Yog Bij, Goraksha Samhita, Vashishta Samhita, Shiva Samhita, Siddha Siddhanta Paddhati, Hatha Pradipika, Gheranda Samhita, and Hatha Ratnavali. So all these 8 texts are important and are kind of I can say you need to, for studying the Hatha Yogic texts, after you have a good grip of the Hatha Yoga Pradipika, Gheranda Samhita, and Hatha Ratnavali, you will be able to make a comparative study of the other texts as well. First, you get a grip of couple of texts, and followed by the comparative study of all the other Hatha Yogic texts. So for this also, you need to maintain good notes. The shlokas in the Hatha Yoga texts are again very important. Some of the shlokas you have to just memorize them. And as you can see, there are sadhaka badhaka tattvas and the concept of ghata shuddhi concept, and importance of shodhana kriyas in Hatha Yoga, importance of the shodhana kriyas in health and disease, concept of matha, mitahara, rules and regulations that you have to follow, and asanas included in the Hatha Yogic texts, like the differences between what is included in Hatha Pradipika versus what is included in Gheranda Samhita versus what is included in Hatha Ratnavali. So this kind of comparative study will be very, very useful, and that is what is expected from an examination point of view. You have to go into that level of detail. Okay, and you need to memorize the benefits, the precautions, the contraindications of different asanas. And pranayama also is very important, followed by bandha and mudra and other practices. In pranayama, you have the concept of pranayama and its phases and stages. Each text has its own flavor, so you need to understand that that aspect about what differences are there in these texts. Like, what is that pranayama, Hatha Yoga, the Hatha Ratnavali or the Hatha Pradipika says about pranayama, and what do the other texts say? That kind of comparative analysis and the difference, you have to put it right from the beginning. Okay, so the way they would approach the Hatha Yogic texts is, first they would start off with the Hatha Pradipika, then followed by Gheranda Samhita, or both. If there are teachers available to teach both the topics, then both will go parallel, hand in hand, and then the other texts would follow, because the other texts are a little smaller when compared to Pradipika and Gheranda Samhita. Okay, so please make comparative notes right from the beginning. Bandhas, mudras, and other practices, concepts and definitions of bandhas and mudras in Hatha Pradipika, Ratnavali, Gheranda Samhita, Shiva Samhita, Vashishta Samhita, then the benefits, precautions, and contraindications. Then we go into the concept, definitions, benefits, and also techniques of Pratyahara, Dhyana in Gheranda Samhita. All the topics are important. Concepts and benefits of Nada and Nadanusandhana in Hatha Pradipika. the 4 stages or the avasthas of Nadhanusandhana, relationship between Hatha Yoga and Raja Yoga, the goal of Hatha Yoga, then relevance of Hatha Yoga in contemporary times. So don't worry, though the syllabus looks vast, but the teachers will help you crack this. You just have to be consistent. So I'm repeating this so many times so that you understand how important it is to attend the classes regularly. Then in the 6th unit, we have general psychology. There we have introduction to altered states of consciousness, which talks about stages of sleep and sleep disorders. Then we have behavioral psychology, which is the science of behavior and psychological basis of behavior. Then we have the concept called personality, which talks about nature and types of personality, then determinants of personality, followed by heredity and environment, facets and stages of personality development. Here, what you would see is there are different psychologists, psychiatrists, and scientists who have put together different kinds of concepts, psychological concepts. So all those concepts given by different psychologists, you will be studying here. Okay, the personality concepts. And then what is cognitive psychology? The sensations, perception, attention, memory, learning, these aspects you will go in a little bit of detail, their definitions and types. Then followed by mental health, causes and consequences of mental conflicts and frustrations, introduction to common mental disorders such as insomnia, depression, stress, anxiety disorder. So this is what you will be seeing in psychology. And introduction to human anatomy and physiology. This is, again, though it's part of the 6th unit, this is a subject in itself. So this includes the anatomy and physiology of the human body, where you will have details about the cell, then the cell organelles, then the different kinds of systems like the musculoskeletal system and digestive and excretory system. Then we have the renal physiology. Then we have nervous system and the glands. The nervous system includes the motor nervous system and the other things, cardiovascular and respiratory system, and then the immune system, then reproductive system. All the 9 systems are included in anatomy and physiology. So we will go in detail in each of these systems. Then we have, as part of the 6th unit itself, we have diet and nutrition, quite a very big unit. You can see there is psychology, there's anatomy, physiology, diet and nutrition. All 3 topics, which are very, very big subjects in themselves, are included in unit 6. Under diet and nutrition, you would have the basic concepts and components of food and nutrition. So understand the basics of nutrition, the terminologies that are used here, human nutritional requirements, the concept of food, acceptance of food, functions of food, components of food and their classification, what are micro and macronutrients, and then the source, function, and effects of these on the body. Then what are fat-soluble nutrients? You will also learn about the different macro and micronutrients, where you will go into details about what are carbohydrates, what are they made up of, what are proteins, what are they made up of, then fats, then minerals, vitamins, and other things. So that will be taught to you in this particular concept. And then we have the yogic concept of diet and its relevance in the management of lifestyle. Then nutrients, the balanced diet concept, and carbohydrates, proteins, fats, sources, nutritive values, and all these things. Then we have food groups, which include cereals and millets. And as you can see, we have different kinds of food groups given that will be discussed. And then food and metabolism, the concept of energy would be discussed, components of energy requirement, energy imbalance, concept of metabolism, anabolism, catabolism, the calorie requirement, what is BMR, what is BMI, all these things will be discussed. Physical activity, what is metabolism of carbohydrates, lipids, and proteins, factors that affect energy, requirements and expenditure, factors affecting BMR. Okay, so that was about the 6th unit. Then coming to the 7th unit, we have yoga and health. Under yoga and health, we have definition and importance of health according to WHO, dimensions of health, physical, mental, social, and spiritual, the concept of trigunas, pancha mahabhutas, pancha pranas, their role in health and healing. So here you see we don't have a particular scripture or a text, but these concepts that are included in unit 7 are taken from different texts. As you're learning the other units, you will learn all these concepts, and those concepts will be put under unit 7. But I think you will have somebody teaching you unit 7 as well. But these things would be included as part of other units also, like the Trigunas, the Pancha Mahabhutas. Most of our other units have these concepts in them, the Panchakoshas, the Shat Chakras, role of yoga in preventive healthcare, yoga as a way of life, Heyam Dukkham Anagatam, so which is one of the sutra in the Patanjali Yoga Sutras, potential causes of ill health, tapatriyas and kleshas, then physical and physiological manifestation of disease, which we've already seen in Yoga Vashishta, something like Adi Vyadhi. Okay, then Alasya Angame Jayatva, all these aspects you see are part of other texts. These I can see that they are part of the Yoga Sutras itself. Mental and emotional ill health, which is Dhyana, Samshaya, Pramada, Avirati, Bhranti Darshana, Alabdha, Bhumikatva, Anavastitatva, Dukkha, Daurmanasya. Again, if you're thorough with the Yoga Sutras and certain topics given in the Yoga Vashishta and Hatha Yogic texts, you will be able to attempt these questions very easily. Then yogic diet, the ahara mitahara concept, which is taken from the Hatha Yogic text. Then you have a little bit of information about body constitution, vata, pitta, kapha, the gunas, and concept of diet, which is patya and apatya ahara. According to Gheranda Samhita, Hatha Yoga Pradipika, Bhagavad Gita, all these texts give some information about patya and apatya ahara. And then importance of yogic diet in yoga sadhana and its role in healthy living. Diet according to the body constitution, vata, pitta, and kapha, as also gunas. So yogic principles of healthy living, we have the Ayurvedic concept of ahara, vihara, achara, vichara, role of yogic positive attitudes, which are included in the Yoga Sutra itself, Maitri, Karuna, Mudita, Upeksha, for healthy living. Concept of bhavas and bhavanas with its relevance in health and well-being. So these are the topics of the 7th unit. And in the 8th unit, we have the therapeutic yoga. Again, coming to the therapeutic yoga, you need to have a good understanding of anatomy and physiology. That is the first requisite. Second is to be able to understand the practices that you have learned in Hatha Yoga texts. Okay, and also think in a contemporary way about how you can apply both these concepts as a confluence. Okay, so this is a little tricky, though it looks very straightforward, but the questions that we see are not that straightforward. So you need to think through, you need to also understand the pattern of the previous year paper, and based on that, you can assess the complexity or the intricacies that you see in the questions of this particular unit. Okay, so here what are covered are the yogic practices, which include the management of the diseases through suitable yogic practices, yogic diet, yama niyama, shat karma, asana, pranayama, meditation, changes in lifestyle according to yogic scriptures, then integrated approach to yoga therapy, which includes the respiratory disorders, cardiovascular disorders, metabolic disorders, endocrinial disorders. And then we have obstetrics and gynecological disorders and menstrual disorders, gastrointestinal disorders, musculoskeletal disorders, neurological and psychiatric disorders. So each of these diseases will be covered, and the yogic practices that are suggested for handling these diseases, all those things will be covered in therapy. But I would still suggest to kind of apply the practical understanding of the text and also the anatomy and physiological aspect, the disease condition with the anatomy and physiological aspects. So this is very important when you're solving the questions of that unit. And coming to the 9th unit, we have applications of yoga. Here we have applied yoga. Again, from different texts, you will have to kind of understand it and apply the concepts here. Yoga is applied philosophy, meaning, definitions, and nature of consciousness as described in the Vedas, Upanishads, Bhagavad Gita, Yoga Sutras, and Yoga Vashishta. Spiritual and scientific approach to human consciousness. Yogic method of elevation of human consciousness, which includes Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Karma Yoga, Mantra Yoga, Ashtanga, and Hatha Yoga. So all these topics would have been covered in the other units. All that you have to do is kind of get a good understanding. And when you see the questions around this particular unit, you will be able to answer those because these things would have been covered in the other units. Yoga and education, where you will see the salient features of yoga education, factors of yoga education, teacher, student, and teaching, value-based education. Then we have meaning and definition, types of values. And in teaching methodology in yoga, you will see that there are teaching and learning concepts, relation between the two, the principles of teaching, meaning and scope of teaching methods, and the factors influencing them, teaching techniques, individual, group, and masses. So different kinds of teaching techniques that we apply as trainers. Essentials of good lesson plan, concepts, needs, planning of teaching yoga, Shodhan, Kriya, Asana, Mudra, Pranayama, and meditation. Then we have models of lesson plan, where there's a need for what's the need for a lesson plan, then what's the need for planning the content, the 8-step method of introduction as development in Kaivalya Dham. So the whole of teaching methodology in yoga is based on a book called Teaching Methodology, which is published by Kaivalya Dham. Okay, so this part will be completely covered in that book of Kaivalya Dhamma. So probably in 1 or 2 days, you will get a list of books that you can refer to. Okay, but I would still suggest stick with the lectures. Stick with the lectures, you make your own notes. That is the best help that you can do to yourself. And then evaluation methods of an ideal yoga class. Methods of customizing yoga class to meet individual needs. So you will have to curate your yoga classes based on individual needs. That aspect is covered here. The students will have demonstrations and training in the above mentioned aspects of teaching methods. Then yoga classroom. Essential features, area, the sitting arrangement in a yoga class, students' approach to the teacher, then pranipata, then pariprashna, all these things, seva, these aspects will be covered, which are part of Bhagavad Gita. And coming to the last unit of our paper 2, we have practical yoga here. Practical yoga includes the yogic practices like the Shat Karmas, Asana, Pranayama, Mudra, Bandha, Dhyana, Surya Namaskara. So these aspects are covered, as you can see. The Shat Karmas, the Surya Namaskara, Asanas, which are the 4 different kinds of yogic postures, which are sitting, prone, supine, balancing, these kind of asanas. Then we have pranayamas. Some of the pranayamas are mentioned. And then practices leading to meditation like the japas, the yoga nidra, Antaramauna, Ajapa Japa, practices that lead to breath meditation, practices leading to Om meditation, practices which lead to Vipassana meditation, and also the Preksha meditation. So you will have to know the method of these meditation practices and the Japa practices. Bandhas and mudras. So different kinds of bandhas, Mula, Jalandhara, Uddiyana, Mahabandha, Yoga Mudra, Mahamudra, Shanmukhi. Some of the mudras are mentioned. So you will have to know how these mudras are done. Okay. Then contemporary yogic practices like Sukshma Vyayama, given by Dhirendra Brahmachari, the cyclic meditation designed by S. Vyasa, the MSRT technique again designed by S. Vyasa, transcendental meditation by Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, Yoga Nidra by the Bihar School of Yoga, Sabita Dhyana by the I don't remember what the SVB is. I think Savita and something else. I don't remember the full form of DSVP. Okay, so that is what is included in Unit 10. So you have to remember the procedure, the benefits, and the contraindications of each of these. Okay, so that is about paper 2. So I do not have time to take you through the paper 1 today. Probably I'll do it on a different day at a different time. So this is about the paper 2 topics. Now I would like to give you a few minutes for asking me questions. If in case you have any questions from what I have just discussed. Yes, please, you can start asking questions, whoever has questions.
So, ma'am, I'm wondering, we need to have 10 books for yoga Upanishads and then, like, I mean, yeah. So,
Each
what
book
was the
for
other thing?
one unit, yes.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am.
That is the way to go. Because what happens is you will keep writing notes, and if you use the same notebook for different subjects, what happens is it kind of gets very cramped, and towards the end of it you will not be able to use the notes properly. I don't want that to happen. I want you to have a separate book for each subject, and if you're making notes every day for every session, I think your book, the number of pages in the book will be justified. You will not be wasting any pages.
So, how many pages ka notebook do you suggest, ma'am?
You can use a long book which might have like 150 to 200 pages and make really good notes, like put effort in making good notes.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Make a very, very clean, good notes. Any other questions? Priyanka ji, you have a question?
Ma'am, will you share this thing in the group
You
syllabus
mean
in the
the
group?
syllabus that I've discussed? Yes, I will. I will.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? No? So if there are no other questions, probably we can end the session now with a closing prayer.
So, ma'am, the goal is to finish these topics before June or by June?
Probably a couple of weeks before we have our exam. If we are anticipating that the exam would be in June, then by the second week of May, or the third week of May, we should be in a good position. We should have completed most of it, like 80 to 90% of it. See,
And the translation.
we can't expect to complete the entire syllabus, like 100% of what is given in the syllabus. There might be shortage of faculty, because faculty, again, good faculty might not be available. Sometimes this is also the case. English medium batch, especially, this is just the second batch. And it is not easy to get faculty who can teach all the topics, right? So you need to be considerate about this aspect as well. But all in all, like more than 85 to 90% of the portion will be covered. And my suggestion, as always, would be to catch up with whatever has been done in the class. You need to be really up to date with whatever has been done.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Pleasure. Any other questions? No? All right. So we will end it now. Anybody who would like to volunteer for the closing prayer, you can do a Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha. Who would like to volunteer for the closing prayer? Every
Can I
day
go
our
ahead, ma'am?
classes start with an opening prayer and end with a closing prayer. So that would be a ritual every day, a gratitude that we can offer to the Almighty who has helped us get all this. Okay, so we end it on that note. Who would like to do it?
Shall I do it, ma'am?
Yes, please.
Yeah, all of you, please close your eyes. Keep your back straight. Take few breaths with awareness. Let us all be filled with gratitude for what we are being offered. Take a nice deep long inhalation and chant Om. Om. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah. Sarve santu niramaya. Sarve bhadrani pashyantu. Ma kaschid dukha bhag bhavet. Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Thank you so much for your valuable time, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you all. Good night.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Shubharatri.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nunggu.